was on a spring break trip down in Cancun with my friends.
And Brad went running into a wave, and I watched it. And he dove in, and then I just saw him floating. Something was wrong, and I just knew it, so I screamed and went running for the water.
I went to dive under a wave, and I just, boom, couldn't move anything in my body. And then I gasped for air once. I got a deep breath, and I just held it until I got saved.
He immediately said, "Mama, I'm paralyzed." So we turned him over so he could breathe. And I know he said, "Mama, I don't want to live like this."
I got surgery in Mexico where they removed 2 discs between C4, C5, and C5, C6.
He actually got into surgery in about 9 hours, which is impressive even by US standards. So huge credit to that surgeon in Mexico.
I was put into a medically induced coma because the swelling had come up to C3. And once it hit C3, your diaphragm stops working, so I therefore couldn't breathe on my own. And I was flown back to St. Louis and put in Barnes ICU. I was intubated, so I couldn't breathe, I couldn't move, I couldn't talk. It was awful. Water polo season had just started.
1, 2, 3, flags!
It's just something that I never wanted to happen.
Water polo is still really a difficult thing because he was such a top athlete.
I just want to walk again.
So when we made the decision to come to Rankin, Jordan, we were just so thankful to have some place local here, and it was definitely the right decision.
When Brad arrived here, he had a feeding tube in through his nose, down into his stomach.
He was very impaired. He had no movement of his legs, very little movement of his arms.
Brad always had a smile on his face. He had rough days, just like anybody would, but Brad was always able to push through.
Brad had difficulty moving that left hand. He had very limited movement, so he was not able to pick up stuff. And through outpatient occupational therapy, he's now able to pick up small objects.
Brad made progress rather quickly. He had more strength in his right side than left, but getting stronger day to day with what he could move on his left side.
With all the progress I've been making, it just like every little bit you're like, I'm getting better, I'm getting better.
He could take a step, and that was a big deal one day. And then 3 days later, he was taking 5 steps.
It was really a turning point for me when in therapy, they put me on the parallel bars and I got all the way to the end and I was like, wow, I really can do this. It took me 22 steps to get across the parallel bars. Now it takes me like 3.
Brad never refused therapy. He always wanted to work. He always wanted to work harder.
Rankin Jordan helped me get better because they pushed me to work hard and got me to therapy when I needed to go to therapy.
Brad is very motivated, very strong-willed. He knew what he wanted to achieve, and Brad set out to do it.
I got a chance to talk to Brad's neurosurgeon, and he told me that Brad is among the top 1% in terms of functional recovery and outcome for kids with injuries like his.
The right side of my body is almost perfect. My right leg's very strong. My right hip's like a tad bit weak, but motor skill-wise, I'm all good on the right side.
Brad's far exceeded any medical professional's expectations for his recovery to date.
A big part of how well Brad has done is the environment and the people and the culture that has supported him along the way in his recovery.
Brad is one of the greatest patients we've ever had at Rankin Jordan. He came to Rankin Jordan, he always had a great attitude, had a smile on his face. I call him our rock star.
Rankin Jordan, such a friendly place, so kid-friendly. All the employees are smiling and happy.
Brad is so incredibly special because of the effect that he has on other people.
He always had a positive impact on the other patients that were around him. The younger kids especially always loved him. He was always positive for them and would give them encouragement.
The people that would come into his room were smiling, and he would joke with them and they would joke back. And that was just a great thing for him because it really kept him up.
If I didn't come to Rankin Jordan, I feel like I wouldn't have such a positive outlook.
So I just really believe that the positive energy here at Rankin Jordan had a tremendous impact on Brad and our family, and just kept us motivated, kept him motivated to keep going and pushing forward.
Rankin Jordan has been an integral part of the process and this journey that we're all on together.
There's a lot of good people here, all of them, with good hearts that want the best for your kid.
As unlucky as Brad was to have sustained this injury, clearly he's very lucky to be where he is now. And certainly Rankin Jordan was lucky to be part of this amazing journey.
While he was here to get better for himself, he made the whole organization better by being here.
He's an amazing human being, and the sky's still the limit.
Rankin Jordan is a bridge to life. It's a bridge to walking. For me, it's a bridge to home. South County supported me like crazy, and St. Louis as a whole, Lindbergh as a whole. I got visitors all the time coming up to Rankin Jordan and helping me get through. I ain't staying in a wheelchair. I gotta get up, I gotta get back to where I was, and that's how it's gotta be. And Rankin Jordan's helping me do that.
There's a perseverance, and I think there's that saying that we're all braver than we know. I'm glad every day that I have him and that he's with us.
Rankin Jordan makes it happen.
Leading the cadets to midfield for tonight's coin flip is honorary captain Drew Hessler.
The day of July 11th, everything was beautiful. We were on vacation. The morning of July 12th, around 2 o'clock after his accident, life changed.
So I was at the Lake of the Ozarks in July, and I fell off a 4-story balcony.
By the time I had gotten there, the police were there, the ambulance was on the way, and it was very obvious that Drew was seriously hurt.
And broke my neck at the C5 vertebrae.
And a corresponding spinal cord injury.
I just remember going into surgery, and
he looked up at me and my daughter Lindsay and called us in and said, "Don't worry, I'm going to come back stronger than ever."
Drew sustained a blowout fracture of the 5th cervical vertebrae, which means that as he fell and his bone pushed back into his spinal cord, it severely injured the spinal cord itself and left him at that point totally paralyzed. What wasn't clear until later on, and which we were very gratified to find out, was that he had an incomplete injury. He did not sever the cord, he severely damaged it, which was really important to the progress he's made.
Then I knew I needed to get him into rehab and needed treatment. So my first call was to Lori.
The fact that we got Drew here as quickly as we could really helped him not lose that muscle memory. I walked into his room and I just got this overwhelming sense of peace. I just knew that Drew was going to do it exceptionally well.
Drew has shown a lot of hard work and dedication back in the therapy gym. He spent a lot of long hours.
I feel like mentally he has taken on a lot more than he ever thought he could, and he's pushed himself a lot harder. He's definitely an inspiration to all of us, just with how much fight he has.
And we hope for him to be independent in all of his self-care and his transfers and his mobility. That's the goal that we want, is for Drew to be as independent as possible.
Every nurse, every therapist, every doctor has been 100% on board and committed to helping him achieve his goals.
I was called to his bedside by his nurse, and his nurse said, "Hey, you gotta come see Drew." And I panicked. I rushed to his bedside right away, and I walked in the room, and there he was, huge smile on his face, tears in his eyes, looking at his toes and wiggling his right toes. He had not been able to do that beforehand. He had no movement from his chest down. That was the game changer for all of us. At that moment, we knew we had work to do.
Like the first time I got any movement below my hips, so I moved my right toes. The first time I walked was a pretty big moment. No one was expecting it that day.
Big steps, big steps.
Look at you, man. You're so awesome.
I like this way.
Rankin Jordan has just been tremendously supportive. They not only treat Drew with dignity and respect, but they also treat the family members that way too. It is a place where your family can heal. Not just the patients, but the family members can too.
It's really been remarkable to watch his progress that really has come all from Drew. We've been there to help along the way, but he's the guy who's really pushed himself hard to get better.
I want to be fully functional, and I don't see anything that could stop me.
I think the fact that he is this great athletic leader is what has been able to help him get so much better, so much faster.
You just gotta work. You can't stop. You just have to keep going.
Drew's been a proud member of the CBC football program and was looking forward to playing again this year. First game was very emotional. It was his first trip away from the hospital, first trip to CBC.
Why I work so hard? I want to be as normal as I can, regain as much function as I can, as quick as I can.
Left and right. Drive it, drive it. Good. Left. Right. Good. Left.
Am I actually doing that?
Right. Yeah.
I always say that I've surpassed everybody's expectations except for my own.
He's always been upbeat and positive, and I'm very proud of his work ethic and everything that he's doing, but I'm more proud of the man that he is and staying confident and focused.
Stronger than ever.
I don't believe that he would get better treatment, better care anywhere other than Rankin Jordan. That's why we're here, that's why we've stayed here, and that's why we'll do our aftercare here. He's going to walk through those doors with a little help, with the help of his walker. He's not going to leave here in a wheelchair. He's going to walk out of here.
I've come a very, very, very long way.
Completely focused on getting better and walking out of here one day, and certainly that's always been our goal. Luckily, that miracle is happening for him, getting use of his legs and his arms and everything in between. And throughout the entire process of the last 5 months, medically he's been taken care of, physically he's been taken care of, through therapy he's been taken care of. So I couldn't ask for anything more than what we've gotten here at Rankin Jordan.
Love you, buddy. That was awesome. told me 5 months ago you're going to do it, and you did it.
Couldn't have anticipated it. You can't plan for anything like that. You just don't know when life changes. It happens in a split second. And I thank God every day that we knew where to go. We had a place to go. If we didn't have this place, I don't know where we would have turned.
I always knew I'd be just fine. Literally from the very beginning, I never doubted.
His number one goal is to be a father, to have a family. It's pretty amazing.